Give me the off the radar. And I know you don't traffic in rumor, you traffic in facts, but you got something for me that we keep an eye on that could go totally haywire this weekend that we're not thinking about right now?
I mean, this is probably a little more macro than you're looking for, but
Okay.
I think it's still compelling. Is I'm just looking at the New Orleans situation and how do they play it. You know, they were not successful moving up in the draft and try. You know, who knows to what degree they shopped Zion, or and all the indications were that Brandon Ingram was actually more untouchable than Zion was. But they just, anytime you have a situation like that where if you think about it, Rich, man, like 2 months into last regular season, this was a team that was on top of the West and was, unofficially getting crowned as like a West contender from henceforth. And next thing you know, the wheels are falling off. The roster is not what you thought it was going to be, mainly because of health. They have since had some turmoil. Their head of training was kind of shown the exits. Teresa Weatherspoon, one of Zion's confidants and an assistant coach, surprisingly was not there anymore. Just a lot of upheaval, and I think a divide between ownership, management, and Zion. And so that always is a recipe for something. I don't know what it leads to, but I don't think that Dave Griff and that Pelicans group are going to want to go into the next season with that same exact group together.
Interesting. What about a smart, targeted veteran that wants to play with Victor Wembanyama and Pop in San Antonio? Not like a game changer, right? But it just seems it would be such a smart Spurs move to find a savvy veteran that wants to join this young team just at the outset of a huge moment for the Spurs. That just sounds like a Spurs move to me, Sam.
It does, and I'm trying to think of who that might be. I mean, one guy, not quite probably the level that you're talking about, but, like I could see a Harrison Barnes out there, except that, again, all signs are that Harrison's probably staying in Sacramento.
Right.
I don't know who that guy is, but I agree. And it's also interesting, like, I think the Spurs, they want to start winning games, and they want Victor to have momentum in the early part of his career, but
right.
I don't think that they are trying to go out and get the kind of game-changing free agent that takes them completely out of the lottery balls, if you know what I mean.
No, I do.
It's going to be a slow growth. Yeah.
Yeah, but it just strikes me, just go find out one guy who can fill it up and be smart and maybe whisper in the kid's ear a little bit, and get off to a decent start. That's the sort of thing I'm looking at, Never know.
Yes, I agree. Although, man, if they don't find that guy, it doesn't get much better than having guys like Tim Duncan around and David Robinson around. And he's not going to be lacking for wisdom in that environment. And I think it's so cool. I mean, he said the other day in one of his interviews, I think this was actually on the J.J. Redick podcast, that if he, and I don't think he's just blowing smoke, he said if you could have told me going in to just pick a team that I wanted to be on, that I would have picked San Antonio. And I thought that was so neat because, it makes sense. But you know how it is. Like, a lot of times, the young players are just looking at the big cities. And so to hear him say that, no, it was small market San Antonio with all that history, and that he had such an awareness of what they'd accomplished and why that would be a good environment for him, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it helps to have Tony Parker and Boris Diaw sign your checks. You know what I mean? That gives you an idea.
Yes, there is that.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.